Hi, I'm Krista.
And I'm Sarah.
And we have this podcast called Have We Talked About? We're two friends at different points in their lives chat about everything in their lives.
From current events to pop culture, from self-care to self-indulgence, and everything in between.
Join us weekly to see what we talk about next. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, Krista. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited for us to chat today.
Me too, as always. Before we jump in, I just wanted to share with the listeners, you can find us on all the social media platforms. Mm-hmm. I may be biased, but our social media is pretty darn funny. So follow us on the gram, on the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook. I'm saying the because I think it's so funny when people put the in front of the the platforms.
I was going to call that out.
But I just wanted to say that if you wanted to know, because it's pretty funny. Anyways, what are we chatting about today, Krista?
It is funny that you bring that up, that we are available on all those social media platforms. How appropriate that we talk about social media platforms today. All the ones that exist, how much time we spend on them, what demographics use what apps, which I actually found interesting when I did some of my research. And I guess we can talk about the fallout from that, which is any pressures that people feel from using them. Instagram makes me laugh, but I know some people it makes them cry. So,
oh my gosh. So maybe let's start from the beginning. So the first social media quote unquote platform. What was the first platform that you had when you were a youngster?
It's a good question. Okay, so my first social media platform was Facebook, but other people's first social media was MySpace.
You didn't have MySpace? I had MySpace.
I never had a MySpace. Never.
Oh my! Did you have MSN?
I did, but would that be considered? That was just instant messaging. I wouldn't consider that.
I know, but
I
it's
guess.
So fun. It MSN. I think I saw a TikTok and they played all the different sounds, and then when you nudge a person, and then when you log in, log back out, log in, log back out to make sure to see if your crush messages you, all those things. I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
The days when you couldn't see anything but just them typing or being online or offline.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so you didn't have MySpace.
No.
That's surprising. Why didn't you have MySpace?
I don't know. I think it just wasn't something in my age demographic that was something that was really hot. Or maybe I was just late to the party. I wouldn't have considered myself an early adopter of technology in those times. I would consider myself more so now that I'm older. I just didn't find a need for it.
Gotcha. I definitely had MySpace. I don't remember too much, but I remember updating my top, 8 friends.
Yeah, it's like a top 5 friends and then your music and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. But that's all I really remember. And then from that, I got Facebook.
Do you remember what year you got Facebook? I got Facebook in 2007.
I remember I was in high school. So yeah, probably around that time as well. Yeah. Because MySpace was end of elementary, I want to say.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then, I think Facebook was high school.
So fascinating. Because I remember when I first went on Facebook, nobody was on Facebook yet. So it was to get friends it wasn't such a pressure to get friends because so very few people were on it because it had just wiggled its way into mainstream from the colleges.
Right. That's valid.
So this is a good segue into my question of what are the top maybe 2 or 3 apps that you probably toggle between on a daily basis?
I would say for social media, the social media apps, I would say Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Is YouTube a social media?
It is. Yeah. Even WhatsApp is considered a social media platform.
Oh,
did you know that? Yeah.
WhatsApp.
I'm on it, but I'm only getting content that is given to me from other people. There's no content that lives there.
Yeah. I would say those would be my top. What about you?
Instagram is probably number 1. YouTube is definitely number 2. Facebook, I'm never on unless I get a notification or I have to wish somebody happy birthday. LinkedIn is
Which is like so nice that like Facebook will tell you when it's people's birthdays.
Yeah, because I
You're
wouldn't
like, thank you so much.
I wouldn't remember. Except you're telling me the
100%.
people that I don't actually care about's birthday. So it's like, don't worry about like close friends or immediate family, but definitely the person from elementary school, let me know. They're celebrating a birthday. Yeah, LinkedIn is a social media app. I don't think we like talk that out, but that would be like my number 3. I'm on there every day too to like look through the feeds and stuff and see what's going on in my network.
Yeah, that's valid. And then, okay, so you said you're not really on Facebook that much. Like I have Facebook too, but I use it for different purposes. Like I use it if I'm going to post pictures of my kids. I know a lot of family members are on Facebook, so I'll post it so they can see them. Like that's literally why I go on Facebook.
That's why I'm on Facebook, to just stay in touch with like distant family members. Like I don't post any pictures anymore because they're so nice to be like complimenting on stuff, and my mom used to be heavy on my Facebook, so I'd stopped where it's like I'd post a picture and she'd be like, I don't like that picture, and it's like, do you have to comment that though? You can call me
She
up on
would
the
comment that?
Yes. And it would like it would be annoying because I mean that's her way, like both good and bad, she would say. If it was a good picture she'd say too, but we come from a culture that's very blunt, so no matter what, it's like you need to know exactly how I feel, and it's like people are coming at me being like, why is your mom so mean? It's like, she's not. That's just how the culture works.
She is. Yeah. But it's interesting that we both said we're not really, like we have Facebook, but we don't really go on it too much. Although when I was doing some research, it said that Facebook has the most active users.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that up. I don't have it as the most active users. I have Instagram as the most active users.
Oh, conflicting stats.
No. Actually, I take that back. I just told you a lie. That's not true. So we're in agreement. I have like 2.9 billion active users as of 2021. So that number is probably a lot higher. What I found interesting about Facebook is that my mom loves Facebook, right? Like that's for like 55 plus people to like ride on all day and post misinformation all day long.
Totally.
On this statistic that I got, which I don't know it to be true, the largest age group on it was actually 25 to 34 year olds.
On Facebook?
On Facebook, followed by 18 to 24 year olds.
Really? I don't know if I believe that.
55 plus, not even in the mix. That age group,
I don't believe that. Because those, like that age group, 18 to whatever you said, 25 or something, aren't they on Instagram? 24. Aren't they on Snapchat?
Yeah.
Aren't they on TikTok? What?
Yeah. So I will say that we are looking at it through a very North American lens. So I don't know in terms of the rest of the world what's available to them. So maybe, Facebook would be something that would come around to other areas of the world later. So maybe when we take the whole world population, maybe that's how it kind of ends up. But yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
Because then if we take that, we talk about YouTube. YouTube is my favorite. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole, definitely YouTube is the best place to go. The largest age group there is 18 to 34, okay, which is a very huge gap or group of people. Yeah. And then 35 to 54, and then 55 plus. So basically everybody.
Just literally 18 to 55.
It's like 18 to 100.
Like, okay. That's funny. I love YouTube though. Like I love YouTube. I use it.
Oh God. I could have got so much more done as a kid if YouTube had been around.
Valid. It's so informative. Entertaining. Yep. Like I feel like I don't need cable because I can just catch little pieces on YouTube or watch things on YouTube or watch a talk show host or watch vlogs or whatever on YouTube. I love it.
You're right. I mean, you can watch our video clips on there. You can listen to our podcast episodes on there. It's it's so useful. And yeah, like anything that you can't figure out how to learn by reading instructions, what do? You go to YouTube, because I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. I need somebody to tell me it over a video.
And show me how to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I need to play back at double speed.
So you also said you like Instagram. Like Instagram was your number one. Why do you like Instagram so much?
Because it just makes me laugh so hard. Like a lot of people everybody goes on it for different things, but I go on, I'm strictly for the memes. I'm strictly for the dry humor. I'm strictly for that. So if I'm having a bad day, I would always like go on Instagram to like flip through all the funny things I follow to like get a laugh, to like lighten up my day.
Krista is the type of person that will send you multiple memes every day. I am too,
Yeah.
but she'll send you way more, and they're hilarious.
Yeah, you need to quantify that by saying they're hilarious. She sends so many a day that are hilarious. I mean, I could keep the humor to myself.
They are funny, but I also feel like people, I like the memes as well. Don't get me wrong. I send it to people too and get a chuckle. But I think there was a time, I think in everyone's life, where Instagram, Facebook, just social media in general it's hard, because at the end of the day, you're only seeing other people's, highlights of their life. They're not posting about the bad parts, the negative parts, the terrible parts of their life. They're posting about the happy, positive, amazing moments of their life.
Unless they're crying.
So I think it's
then
hard.
they're going to take a video of them crying.
Valid, and post
post
on
that.
YouTube and TikTok.
I don't normally do this, but
Exactly, with their ring light and everything.
yeah, it's like just don't.
Valid, but I think it's tough. Like, I think especially teenagers potentially and people in their 20s, and if you're looking at someone else's life that's the same age as you, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, but they have all this, and you're comparing yourself and you're judging and you're doing everything. I don't think it's really good for people's mental health. That's why
I
I
agree.
think I pulled something. The cons of social media: spreading rumors, gossip, cyberbullying, hacking into profiles. That's funny. I haven't had that. But I think it takes a toll on people's mental health, because they're always comparing other people to them. Why haven't I got that? Why haven't I done that?
Yeah.
And it affects people.
I agree. I would say I probably went through that kind of phase in Facebook days, where you're doing the comparing, because it was like heavy sharing, like albums. So it was all like you needed to be doing something to create an album, creating a cool album name, and then sharing it with the world. So they'd be like, this is how cool my life is. And then I learned in those Facebook days that most people are just showing you what they're showing you is basically not the real life. And people who look like they're having amazing lives are miserable. People that are showing how amazing their relationships are miserable. So I learned
faking it.
Yeah, I learned to tune that out a long time ago. And then I just don't follow that type of stuff on my Instagram now, because I'm like, I'm not interested in doing that. Like, I'm happy for people that are happy,
Yeah.
but I'm here
But I think
for the laughs.
Valid, but I think you have to get to a certain age in your life where you can be at that time, be like, you know what, I'm happy for you, but good for you, congratulations. But I think everyone kind of goes through that phase of comparing yourself, judging yourself, and it I don't know, it really affects you. It could make you
Agreed.
have depression, have anxiety, etc., etc., etc.
And some people don't ever grow out of it, because that's
Valid.
what forces you to, right? Like, unless you do like your own self work, like there's still people I know that are well old that are still posting stuff, trying to act like they are young and hot and with it and living an amazing life. And I'm like, lies.
Yeah.
And then I just go on to my funny little cat memes. I love watching the videos of the cats like push each other off buildings and stuff. I think that's always a good laugh.
Gosh.
But okay, so tell me, Sarah, which apps do you have installed on your phone? Do you
Oh my
have,
gosh.
do you have Facebook
Most of
on there?
them?
Yes.
Yes.
You have YouTube on there?
Facebook, obviously. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Messenger Kids.
Messenger
'Cause
Kids.
Because that's a thing. Yeah, I messaged a few of my kids' cousins and things.
What? I do not know
There's
that.
parental controls and everything. So I have that on my phone too.
Do you have Snapchat?
No, I did when it first, came
Yeah.
out. I don't know, how many years ago now?
A while.
A while.
10,
I did.
Maybe just short of 10 years.
Yeah, I did. When it first came out, I did. But then after a while, you're just like, nah, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Uninstall.
See, I kept it because some in the 20, like in my nephew and niece's like age range, they Snapchat is like their text message
Ah,
because of like the disappearing messages aspect of it. Like the messages can
yeah.
disappear, which you can do on WhatsApp, by the way. But other than that, I'm like, I never understood the like the UX of it, like of how to use Snapchat other than the filters, like swipe right on this side, left this way, up this way, down. I'm like, no, I need more actual descriptive menu options at my age. So Snapchat just stays there for like when my nephew needs to message me something.
Got it. And do you have all the other apps installed on your phone?
I do. One that we recently added because we're also on is Clapper, which is an up and coming app as well.
It's similar to TikTok.
Similar to TikTok. But yeah, I have all of them. All of them, and all of them well, TikTok again is like, it's just like one step up for Snapchat for me. I like TikTok was really fun in the beginning to be like, oh, you're doing a dance? Oh, hands on the shoulders, hand on the hips, spin around, spin around. Cool, cool, cool. But now I'm like, no.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
When did you download TikTok?
I think when everybody did during like COVID.
Yes.
That's when it became
100%.
Yeah. During the
100%.
pandemic.
That's literally the reason why I downloaded it, because I was bored and it was like we were in a lockdown and I was like, okay, might as well.
You know what? I think I actually did it before because I was like, one of my favorite pastimes is like karaoke, and I haven't done it in a long time. And TikTok used to be Musical.ly, where you
Yes.
could do the dubbing of over the music. And I remember trying to download the Musical.ly and then realizing it was TikTok, and I'm like, oh, well, this is different. And then downloading and not really understanding how it worked. And then the pandemic came and I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing with it now.
Yeah. So I feel like I have a stat. On average, Gen Z and millennials have 8.5 social media accounts.
That sounds accurate.
So I feel like that's accurate for both of us.
Yeah, I totally have 8 or 9 apps installed,
Yeah.
among others.
Among others. Valid.
How many hours a day do you think you spend on those?
Yikes. I think it depends what day it is
Oh, okay.
and what is currently going on in your life. Like year over year, I think it's different. And I think it's different depending on the month. Like if it's in the winter, I'm probably going to be on it a lot more. If it's a summer, probably not. If it's on the weekends when both of my kids are home, I'm not going to be on it a lot. If it's, and I think at the time too, like if it's late at night, I'm probably going to be on it because the kids are in bed. I think it depends. What about you?
I have an app that tells me how many hours I spend. So
Yeah, same.
sometimes it's like an hour and a half, and sometimes it's like 2.5 hours.
I feel like mine's more. I think there's I'm going to look right now while you continue to talk.
So, for the age group that spends the most time on social media apps, daily time is between 18 to 24, where they spend 2 hours and 6 minutes. The people that are on it the least are those that are 55 plus, where they spend 33 minutes. Now, I don't think that they're taking into account Facebook on a desktop because those seniors be on the Facebook all day.
Valid. That's valid. Yeah, I've only spent an hour and a half today, and it's during the week.
Yeah. So it's today a slow day? It's like a Friday. Is today a day where you would normally?
It's hard right now. I'm on maternity leave. Yeah. I have a newborn. I'm breastfeeding. There's not much to do when you're, feeding your kids. So might as well go on TikTok, see what's new, right?
Sure.
And it's kind of a crummy day outside. So yeah, it makes sense.
But do you think that you spend between an hour to 2 hours a day outside of that, like pre-newborn? Like, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But like
for
3 hours, do you think? I guess it depends on your circumstance. Like if you were commuting into work, maybe you would have spent more. So I guess it does depend on the scenario.
Mm-hmm. Valid. We were talking about how do you know if someone is not telling the truth, like telling the truth on Instagram or Facebook. Like, ooh. I feel like if people like post a really long caption, or like being all mushy and gushy with whoever, I'm just like, I don't believe you. I don't believe your life is a fairy tale.
Yes. I won't believe them if they start out, I don't normally post stuff like this. It usually means brace yourself for the delusional lie that they're about to tell. And it's not for you, the audience, it's for them. Like, not to, I mean, I sound like a single bitter person, and that's not the way that I want this to come out. But a good example, at least from my Facebook days, that has carried over into Instagram is like couples. If a couple has been together for a long time and you know them not to be like huggy and lovey and have a lot of those pictures, if all of a sudden they start posting those pictures, like, oh, here's a picture of him kissing me on my cheek, here's a picture of us just holding hands, I'm like, trouble is a brewing, and they want to convince you that everything is fine.
Yeah, valid. And how do you have that balance? Because it's so easy just to quickly go on Instagram and spend hours on it, or YouTube it and spend hours on it. So how do you have that balance of your life being on social media?
Yeah. I think schedules help.
Okay.
Oh my God, I couldn't even hold back that laughter. But what I really want to say is, if you're a person that doesn't have a busy life, you are going to have a tendency to use that to be filler. And then I think depending on how you react to that material, it can be negative. Like, it can have negative impacts on you. So you as a person, an individual, should make time to like develop other hobbies so that you can be distracted from that. Because it can be, it's just noise. It's just a distraction. Yeah. Like, you're 100%. Eating your lunch at work, you're on the social media apps. But like, you need to do things that kind of fulfill you. And unless you're using these things for informational purposes to like drive you forward in whatever it is that you're doing in a hobby, or us as a side hustle, because we're on these things heavy now because we are doing our own research, then it's probably going to take a bad toll, because you're going to be like, why don't I have 4 million followers? And why am I not getting paid $1 million to review a toy like that 9-year-old on YouTube?
Yeah. And there are some apps on my phone that I've just turned off the notifications. Like, some of the apps.
How do you do that for TikTok?
It's just in the settings. You just go in the settings. Because like, some of them are so aggressive. It's just like they send you a notification like every little thing that happens, and you're like, I don't need to know that. Mute.
It's so like, true. One girl whose video I watched on TikTok, every time it's like a person you interacted with on TikTok just posted a video, and she posts multiple times a day. I'm like, oh my God. Anna, I don't give a fuck what you're posting about.
Wait, Anna who?
I think her name is just Anna.
I think I know the TikToker you're talking about.
And I can't smother her.
Yeah. But I also feel like sometimes, and I do it too, and I know I do it, and then I'm like, what are you doing? If my like, just with my parents, or even just with my kids, and I'm on my phone, and I'm like, I have to like tell myself, what are you doing? Put it down.
Yeah,
put it down and be in the moment. Like, what you're aimlessly scrolling for no reason. Stop.
And I think you're hitting on something that has like, I think an impact on I almost just like cut my finger open with a nail clipper. Sorry, distraction. What I see happening with younger generations is, because they need so much visual stimulation, is that they're not developing their own thoughts or personality, because they only know to like scroll through a phone and like do a function of like walking or eating or something, and there's nothing in between to be like having a conversation and being present in the moment. And sometimes I see that with my nephews, where I'm like, talk to me, like, how was school, what did you do, what did you learn, what did you see? And they're like, and it's like, well, if this were a TikTok video, what would you show me?
Valid. But I think it's also, I'm going back, and I think I've said it before in previous episodes, like, I think it's tough to raise kids in this generation because of all the technology. Because, you know, the question is, when would you give your kid a cell phone?
Yeah.
Once they have a cell phone, see you never, you know, once they have access to certain things. And I feel like every year kids get younger and younger and younger.
Sure.
It's, gosh, I'm scared.
And parents, well, I think parents sometimes are abusing their kids for the likes, right? Like where they're like, pose for the
Yeah.
picture. And I'm like, oh, like you do know there's predators online, right? But okay.
But yeah, I just feel like nowadays, like you were saying, maybe in high school that you were like had Facebook, and I was saying like grade 7, 8, maybe I had MySpace, but now I feel like it's so much younger.
Yeah. Oh, what I was going to say is like also like the kid gets a cell phone, you decide when they get a cell phone, when you decide that they get these other apps. Like my sister's kids weren't allowed to just get all the apps right away. And I know that my brother's, not both of his kids, but at least one of his kids doesn't have like isn't allowed or doesn't have like TikTok just because of like the negative connotation associated with it. So there's a responsibility of parents to basically control the dissemination of information to the phone that these kids are attached to.
Totally. But then it's also on the flip side, maybe when it comes to other social media like Facebook and Instagram, you don't want them to be left out when all of their other friends have it and then they don't. Right. So it's a fine balance. And I am nervous for that for when my kids grow up, because I feel like it's going to be even earlier.
Yeah, you're going to run a gamut of those who have like free range and those people whose parents are like super strict. And I think, my nephew's friends they run the gamut of like parents super strict. They're not allowed anything. Other friends are like, they don't even know where their kid is. Like,
yeah.
So I think, well, I would say with boys, since that you have boys, that the social pressure is less. Like they're more accepting of each other no matter what the situation is. With girls, there is, for whatever reason, more judgment on what you have and what you don't have in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's valid.
At least that's how it used to be when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know. I just want kids to like get off their devices, get off their phones, get off social media, and if it's a nice day, go outside.
Oh, yeah. That's my sister. That's my sister's youngest. He's like, "Can you take me to the park?" And I'm like, "I would love."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's super wants to be active, but I don't ever want to take him to the park. But the fact that he wants to go, is enough.
It's sweet.
Yeah, they want to be outside and they want to play, just like how we used to do. Because yes, my point was going to be that another thing that I feel has changed in this new generation, and I'm not saying it because I'm an old crotchety person who's like back in my day, but an observation is when we had nothing, we had imagination, and then with imagination came innovation. If you are providing this entertainment through these means, these same kids now don't have that same imagination and innovation to go and play with, like outside, right? Like they can't create games. They don't know. They're like, I'm used to something giving me the output and then I'm just watching it. So we're like,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. My kid's 3, and I know parents that give their kids like an iPad or their cell phones when they're going for a 15-minute car ride, right? And I'm like, I would never do that. I'm not doing that. And I see parents and that's fine. Like in restaurants, give their kids like an iPad or whatever, like, and that's fine. Like totally, you do you.
Definitely done that with my nephews.
Yeah, and I've done that too. Like on a really like challenging time, you're like, oh my gosh,
balance.
Can we just enjoy this meal? But to constantly always do it, I don't think that's right.
What I notice in the times that I've been around small kids is that like you can tell the impact maybe like social media and like watch time, whether it's TV or otherwise, right, has on kids when you see them playing with their toys. Like imaginative play is like supposed to be part of like the aspect of like growth and development
and learning.
Yeah. So like if they're playing with their cars or their planes or their dinosaurs or their dolls and they're not able to have like the role play and the conversations between their characters and stuff like that, it like there's a disconnect there because they haven't like developed whatever thinking skills are required to do that. And sometimes I think that social media and all that other stuff plays a part where it's like, if I give you like a bunch of toys, do you know how to like create a scenario with it? And they're just like, no, I just push it and then that's it. And it's like, but what does a car do? Where's the car going? Those are things that I see that are changing now with new kids playing with toys. They're like, I don't know what to do with this. Or they're just recreating a scene that they saw on TikTok.
Or they say, I'm so bored. And you're like, are you serious?
You have
like
1
a lot of
million
kids.
toys.
Yeah, I feel like so many kids, or even like older kids, say that. I'm so bored. You're like, oh my gosh.
Well, do my mom would say read a book.
Right. Go
Oh my
outside,
God, don't even
honestly.
talk about books to kids nowadays.
Yeah, they don't know what that is. What app, out of all the apps that we've talked about, what app do you think is going to, leave, go away, vanish, disappear out of all of them,
I had thought
if any?
I had thought Snapchat was gonna die.
Yeah, but it's strong. It's going strong.
I mean, when you compare the active users based on the stats I have, it only have like in 2020 is the stat I have. It's like 293 million. That's not a lot compared to like billions for TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, right? And YouTube even. So
Right.
the market share. The market share is lower than LinkedIn actually. 774 million active users on LinkedIn as of April 2021. So it's just like a texting app now. It's almost like an enhanced BlackBerry Messenger in a way, right? Like
Right.
whatever they wanted to do with it, and they really stood out with their filters is really where it put them on the map. But once the other ones brought that on, like
Yeah.
Instagram anyway, and yeah, people like it didn't matter anymore. So will someone come out with a new app?
That's what I was gonna ask you too. Yeah. Do you think like people that come out with these apps are so smart and so intuitive?
Yeah.
Who knows what the next one is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me right now, like if you could even think of like an app that I would make, I wouldn't even begin to tell you what I think it should be.
No, because I feel like I have everything. I don't need anything else. But then a new app comes, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I mean, unless there's just, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say, unless TikTok goes back to just like dancing videos, but there's only so many times I can see that.
Yeah.
But I don't, yeah, like Instagram is supposed to be like visual, YouTube is lock on like videos, Facebook has like lock on like family, and like they've branched out into everything, and they bought Instagram, so they're like winning, winning, winning.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we missing? Like an activity
I
app?
guess we'll see. I don't know. A lot of the game apps I think do pretty well too.
The game apps, like
Yeah, there's like tons of different like game apps. I don't have many, but I feel like there's like you go to the app store, like the Play Store,
Yeah.
and there's so many like games.
that I just watched a funny TikTok, but it was actually reposted on Instagram. That's how I saw it.
Oh my god.
Of this teacher who's like, I asked my seventh graders like, how do you know you're getting old? And then so they wrote their answers on little post-it sticky notes, and one of them wrote, when you start playing Candy Crush.
Oh,
Woo! Shots fired.
yikes.
I mean, I don't play Candy Crush, but I'm like, I hear
But
you.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did when it first came out.
I played it a little bit, but I wasn't hardcore like everybody else. One night when I couldn't sleep, I was like, well, let me see how far I can get. But this is way after like the whole wave of Candy Crush.
Got it.
But yeah, I guess I'm not really a big game player. I'm just like, just tell me all of the things, YouTube. Tell me all the conspiracy theories. Tell me how to make a birthday cake and a last minute birthday cake in like 5 minutes. Like, I'm into all of that.
That's funny. Krista wants to be entertained and she wants to learn something.
It's true. And I want to be able to do it at a speed that I'm accustomed to, which is why interacting with people sometimes is challenging, because I can't double up the speed when somebody's talking to me. But I can on YouTube.
Fast forward.
You're like, yeah, so tell me this. They're like, well, so what happens is, and you're like, oh my God, how did this story end?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And do you have any other stats about social media? Stat girl.
Yeah, right. What I did find surprising as well, did I say this already, is that Instagram's, the largest age group is 18 to 24. And I thought it was more 25 to 34.
Yeah, I thought it would be older as well.
Right? Like, I thought those people just lived on Snapchat and on TikTok. So see that they're still like the user of it is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, valid.
But they're on all the things, I guess.
All the things.
All the things about all the technology, but they actually don't know how to use technology, is what I've learned. All these kids have grown up on technology, but they don't know how to do anything. Auntie, how do I do this on my phone? How do I do this on the computer? How do I do this on anything with buttons? And I'm like, you literally, that's all you know. You've never even heard of dial-up internet. You don't know how to use a rotary phone. All you know is technology, and you're asking me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, does it have wires? I only know things with wires.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else. Yeah. And they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Google it. Google tells you everything.
Yeah. Not Siri, iPhone users, Google.
Google. What did we do before Google, honestly? I remember going to Yahoo and I remember going to Ask Jeeves.
Bing.
But yeah, but like, what did we do before all that? Look in a book? Ugh.
Well, I guess it depends on what. I don't think we had to do all the things that we have to do now, so maybe it didn't matter. Or there was somebody there to like teach us, and we have to sit through like a day-long training about whatever we needed to
Oh my
learn,
God.
or we had to know somebody. Like,
Yeah, I feel like we're a lot more impatient now. We just want to know the answer right now.
yeah, or yeah, like I remember when I had my BlackBerry and I did something weird one time where I saved a picture to the wrong spot, and then it just made my BlackBerry go into like this reboot loop, and I'm like, oh my God, my BlackBerry is like not working. And this was before social media. So before social media, and it was just Facebook, when you couldn't even necessarily get it on your phone, we relied on instant messenger. That was the social media app, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, MSN, and then BBM, BlackBerry Messenger.
Yes.
But now I'm like, my phone, my connection to the world now is dead. So I remember Googling at that time, which the internet was good, but it wasn't great. Googling how to like reinstall the operating software on the BlackBerry, because otherwise they're like, well, you need to get a new phone. I'm like, I'm not getting a new phone. I just got this phone.
Yeah.
So I had to risk wrecking it to reinstall the software to make it work. And I did, but it was hard because the instructions didn't make sense. I'm like, if only there was a YouTube.
If only there was a YouTube. There's been a few times where we've lost power, and then there's been a few times when I'm gonna call this big company out when Rogers decides to go down out of all of Canada and
Yeah.
just not work. And Rogers is a internet provider for people that don't live in Canada. And it just didn't work for like the whole day. You couldn't send text messages. You couldn't use your data to go on the internet. You couldn't do anything.
You poor
and then at
thing.
this point, I did not have power at my house. So like when you don't have power and your data and your phone isn't working, you're like, how do I function?
You read a book. You didn't read a book?
Like literally, how do I function? It's awful. It's awful because it's a way of communicating. It's a way of, seeing the news. It's the way of everything. Everything is on my phone.
You poor thing. I am not
was
with
awful.
Rogers, so I didn't have that problem.
That's good because I feel like it's happened like twice in like the past like year.
It has. They're like, people are like, oh yeah, I can't work because I'm down because I'm with Rogers. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, same. Not same. I'm with Val. Everything
Yeah,
is
no,
fine.
it's awful. No, it's truly like it was so bad because and then you really like you value internet number one and social media and that connection. You value it. You actually feel
Totally.
quite alone when you don't have that.
And also, you don't have landlines anymore. So then if you
Yeah,
have no
no.
phone, what do you do in an emergency?
Exactly.
Like I don't know how to do like Morse code on like a radio frequency. Like you just run out of the house screaming in the road. Somebody, does anybody have a landline?
Exactly.
We
Yeah,
were
no,
like,
it's tough.
what's a landline?
It was quite tough.
A landline for the audience is an actual phone inside the house that doesn't go through like a satellite signal that has like a phone wire that goes into the wall.
Yeah. Facts.
The phone at your parents' house or your grandparents' house.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you have a landline?
No.
Right. Do your parents have a landline?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a landline. My parents have a landline. It's the same phone number for like 100 years.
Yeah. I feel like probably millennials and then younger we won't get a landline.
No, it doesn't. Unless it comes as like a bundle package and it's not even a landline. It'll be like VoIP.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And also, like, who has cable nowadays? Like, well, I know you do, but, like, a lot of millennials and
Yeah.
Gen Z don't have cable because I'm not paying for that.
Totally. I mean, I have a very basic package, but yeah. But I also like spend way too much money on streaming.
Yeah, valid. It adds up.
It does add up. I need to do like a cleanup of my apps actually. We should talk about that in another episode, like the impact of streaming and the
Oh
cost
my
of it.
gosh.
I'm paying more
Yes.
than the cable package, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, we should. That's a good idea. Is there anything else you want to add for this episode, Krista?
And then we covered all the bases. Some interesting insights have coming out, fallen out of this conversation. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could come up with the next big app because then I could just retire. But, we're not there yet.
Nah.
But as always, dying to hear what the listeners think. What are their top 3 apps that they use? What are apps that they think are dinosaurs that need to like
Disappear.
disappear or not relevant anymore? If they could come up with an app, what would that look like? Rate and review us.
Follow us on all the things, and I guess we'll chat with you next week.
Yeah, girl. We'll talk next week. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.